Well, in Israel, schools, hospitals and offices have closed and Tel Aviv's airport has ground to a halt as the streets filled with a sea of protesters. Hundreds of thousands of furious Israelis railing against their Prime Minister over the deaths of 6 hostages.
On the streets of Tel Aviv, an estimated 100,000 protesters. Demonstrators throwing flares, police hurling stun grenades as tensions boil over. Fury directed squarely at the Israeli government as the bodies of 6 hostages executed in tunnels beneath Gaza were returned.
We directly accuse our government of murdering these people.
The Israeli government is committed, and I am personally committed, to continue striving for a deal that will return all our hostages and guarantee our security and existence.
But critics say it's Netanyahu's refusal to agree to a deal that has prolonged hostilities and delayed the release of hostages.
Every time an agreement was reached, he changed the Israeli requirements.
I think we have a criminal government who lets the hostages be murdered only for the sake of the coalition.
The 6 hostages included Israeli-American Hirsch Goldberg Polin, whose parents spoke at the Democratic National Convention 2 weeks ago.
Hirsch, if you can hear us, we love you. Stay strong. Survive.
Their son was supposed to be released as part of a deal proposed in July, as was Israeli Carmel Gat, whose cousin pointed the finger at the government.
We know today that the decision not to take the deal killed Carmel. I know that Carmel survived as long as she could, and she didn't make it. Please, make a deal for the people who can still come back and hug their families.
Adita Hell is the mother of Alon, who was kidnapped by Hamas last October from the Nova Music Festival and remains captive. We understand Alon turned 23 while being held hostage. What would you like people to know about your son?
So he's a musician and he plays the piano and he loves life. He traveled before the kidnapping all over Asia and he volunteered and did many things there, also in India and other places. He loves cars, he loves food, gourmet food. And he's a really, really good friend. He has many friends and he's always there for them and always thinking about them and trying to, he's like the glue that brings all his friends together. And he's just a beautiful person and he loves people.
Describing him puts a smile on your face.
Yeah. Because I miss him. I haven't seen him or heard from him or know where he is for 11 months. And I know he's my son. So it's very important for me to people to know about him. He is not just a number. He's not one of 101 now, right? Hostages. He's alone. And this is a humanitarian issue. It has nothing to do with politics, and the fact that sometimes politics get into this is very hard for us, for me as a mother. I'm thinking about Alon. I'm thinking about my son. I don't care about politics. The fact that it's very hard.
Yeah, it did. I mean, for you, this is personal and visceral and it's not political. Unfortunately, the solution really will require politicians to do something in response. We've seen tens of thousands of people protesting against the Israeli government for failing to secure the hostages' release when they believe they had opportunities to do so. Do you place any of the blame with the Netanyahu government?
Well, it's been 11 months and Alon isn't home. So I'm thinking, what's going on? Why isn't there a deal? But I want to feel that and to know that they're doing everything in their power to do so. And it's not just like their own gain of some kind. And I want to know that that Alon and all the other hostages are in front first. And I think that human lives is more important than land, but that's me, you know. I think human lives are more important than, I don't know what they're thinking. I believe there should be something that we can do to make sure that the Palestinians people have a good life to live in Palestine, in Gaza, and that is. And that has to do with them and how much they want their politicians and their country to be like any other and not have a terrorist organization take their lives and do what they've been doing for the past 15 years.
And Adit, I mean, mums often have a really special knowing about their kids. They can sense them, they can feel them. In your gut, do you think Alon is still alive? And what would you like to say to him?
In my gut, in my feeling, I believe so, yes. My son, I believe that he is alive. And of course, like any other, I want to tell him that he is strong, that he is loved. He has to survive. It
is a truly ghastly situation, and it must be really hard for you to speak about it, especially on a day like this. So thank you very much for doing so. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.